Tips to help you study better. Most students start out each new semester of school with high expectations. They envision themselves being successful in their studies and schoolwork, but they fail to put together a realistic plan or establish a routine that will enable them to achieve academic success. Who hasn't had issues with studying? Of course, we all did. And we all tried many ways to help ourselves to study in a more efficient way. Most of students take a pretty lazy attitude towards studying, simply revisiting material before an important test or exam and crossing their fingers hoping the right tidbits will stick. And as a result, they will see it reflecting their efforts. The secret of good studying is simply to study smarter, not harder. Number 1. Reading is not considered studying. The majority of students study by rereading notes in textbooks, but the psychologists' research, both in lab experiments and of actual students in classes, shows this is a terrible way to learn material. Using active learning strategies like flashcards, diagramming, and quizzing yourself is much more effective, as is spacing out studying over time and mixing different topics together. However, a majority of students reread assignments and notes. From a lot of research, this kind of repetitive recycling of information is not an especially good way to learn or create more permanent memories. Some studies show that when they reread a textbook chapter, they have absolutely no improvement in learning over those who just read it once. On your first reading of something, you extract a lot of understanding, but when you do the second reading, you read with a sense of I know this. So basically, you're not processing it deeply or picking more out of it. Often, the rereading is cursory and it's insidious because this gives you the illusion that you know the material very well, when in fact, there are gaps. Number 2. Environmental education. Environmental education is an interactive learning that sparks the imagination and unlocks creativity. When it is integrated into the curriculum, students are more enthusiastic and engaged in learning, which raises student achievement in core academic areas. Not only does it offer opportunities for experiential learning outside of the classroom, it enables students to make connections and apply their learning in the real world. Environmental education helps learners see the interconnectedness of social, ecological, economic, cultural, and political issues. However, it encourages students to research, investigate how and why things happen, and make their own decisions about complex environmental issues. By developing and enhancing critical and creative thinking skills, environmental education helps foster a new generation of informed consumers, workers, as well as policy or decision makers. Number 3. Set regular study times and stick with them. To achieve academic success, you must carefully manage your study time on a daily, weekly, and semester basis. At the start of each new term, before you get heavily involved in your studies or other activities, prepare a calendar that covers the entire term. Your term calendar can look like a regular monthly calendar, or it can employ a different format. Whichever format you choose, your term calendar should outline the following: assignments with their due dates, tests with their dates, all school activities, and all out-of-school and extracurricular activities. However, unlike your term calendar, which is planned out in its entirety at the beginning of each term, your weekly schedule is prepared at the beginning of each new week. Each Sunday, sit down and prepare your weekly schedule. Although you'll prepare your weekly schedule each Sunday, you should update your schedule as the week progresses and new items arise. Number 4. Eliminate potential distractions before your study session starts. Let's start off with a distraction that's ruining 99% of students' studies. If you have a phone, of course, you'll know exactly what I mean. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, text messaging, and yes, the entire internet are at your fingertips. As such, at the start of your study session, you put your phone on silent mode and place it far away from you. Preferably, you should place it at the end of the room. This way, you won't be interrupted by phone calls or text messages while you're studying. You can always check your phone every 30 to 45 minutes when you take a break. If you're honest with yourself, you'll admit that few of text messages and phone calls you receive require an immediate response. So, it's reasonable to get back to the other person when you're taking a break. Or you might intend to use your computer for work, but you can easily find yourself on Facebook or YouTube instead. Don't trust yourself to resist that temptation. Turn off your internet access before you begin your study session. If you need to access certain online resources, then download all of the necessary information at the start of your session before you turn off your internet access. The internet is a tool that has the power to both entertain and educate. By turning off your internet access when it's time to focus, you're harnessing the power of the internet effectively. Number 5. Bait yourself with enticing treats for study goals. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Reward yourself for motivation. You know yourself and what motivates you. If you've had a long day of studying and you're tired, just do something that makes you feel comfortable. That way, every day when you finish your studies, you know that you're going to do something nice that will get all the tiredness away. Or you can do them while taking a break between lessons and sessions. Taking a break could be more important than you realize. Those little study breaks function as a mental reboot and a chance for your mind to digest the information it's been processing. The timing and nature of those breaks are important. Discipline yourself by setting a timer and choosing healthy rewards. An hour of study should equal a walk around the block, not 3 hours of Netflix. It could be a relaxing bath with scented bath oil. Alternatively, do the washing up with lots of lovely suds and hot water to blow bubbles with as well. If you're short on time or have a really delicious oral indulgence, dark chocolate coated ginger, seaweed peanuts, and chewy salami. Just taking time out to savor whatever you fancy. And you can also go for a quick spot of window shopping nearby in the early evening when it's quiet to look at that dress, that jacket, or a pair of shoes. Number 6. Take more useful notes in class. Taking good notes in class is an important part of academic success in college. Actively taking notes during class can help you focus and better understand main concepts. In many classes, you may be asked to watch an instructional video before a class discussion. Good note-taking will improve your active listening, comprehension of material, and retention. Taking notes on both synchronous and asynchronous material will help you better understand and remember what you hear and see. After class, good notes are crucial for reviewing and studying class materials so that you better understand it and can prepare appropriately for exams. Efficient and concise notes can save you time, energy, and confusion that often results from trying to make sense of disorganized, overwhelming, insufficient, or wordy notes. When watching a video, taking good notes can save you from the hassle of pausing, rewinding, and rewatching large chunks of a lecture. Good notes can provide a great resource for creating outlines and studying. There's a lot going on during class, so you may not be able to capture every main concept perfectly, and that's okay. Part of good note-taking may include going back to your notes after class for a check of clarity and fill in any missing pieces. In fact, doing so can help you better organize your thoughts and to determine what's most important. With that in mind, it's important to have good source material. And finally, number 7, practice active recall while studying. Active recall involves retrieving information from memory through essentially testing yourself at every stage of the revision process. The very act of retrieving information and data from our brains not only strengthens our ability to retain information, but also improves connections in our brains between different concepts. Research from 2013, which analyzed hundreds of separate studies about effective revision techniques, concluded that testing or active recall is a technique that has high utility and can be implemented effectively with minimal training. So, how can we apply active recall in our own studies? Are there any strategies that are more effective? Well, almost anything we do that requires us to use cognitive effort and brain power to retrieve information is going to be helpful. So it's a simple strategy, but if it can work for the third-year university exams, I'm sure you can find a way of making it work for your personal needs too.